This episode of the Divorce Club Aftermath is brought to you by Rano, a Kazadi Films original.
Welcome to the Divorce Club Aftermath, and I'm your host, Coach David. I'm so glad you could join me today, and it's about to get hot because you are watching the hottest show on air right now. And in the studio with me is a wonderful panel as we get to look at the previous episode with Helen, Collins, and everybody in the show. It was crazy. Hey, Stu, welcome. Did you watch the show?
Of course. I'm still shocked.
You're still shocked?
Oh my gosh.
We were waiting for the DNA results and they were finally in.
Oh my gosh. I didn't see that coming, first of all. I didn't see that coming. I'm surprised it came. And oh my goodness, that was a good one. That was a really intense one.
And joining us for the first time on the set today is Uncle Happy. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Coach David, for having me.
I'm so glad you could join us. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is full name's Happy Kapalu Sakai.
Okay.
Born in a small town called Mofurera.
Okay.
Relocated to Lusaka when I was a small boy, maybe a year or 2 years old. I've grown up in Lusaka, in Kawata.
Okay.
I'm a Kawata legend.
Oh, okay. I am so glad. People from Kawata, I hope you're watching Uncle Happy. He's here with us today, and it's about to get exciting. And the famous Lavo Doctor. So glad for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me for the second time. Yeah.
Did you watch the episode?
Yes.
Hey, the DNA test results are out.
Wow.
Does that justify? I mean, we're just going to get right into it because, I mean, look, the episode 1 was something else.
Yeah.
The revelations that were brought out were crazy. And now a DNA test was done and the results came out. Mm-hmm. Does that justify the argument whether men should have a DNA test when they have the children, whether they trust their woman or not?
But why don't they trust their woman is the first question.
Look at the results. I mean, look, 3 kids.
Okay.
3 kids.
Yeah.
2 are not his.
Yeah.
Not even the first one is his. Not even the girl is his. Come on.
I'm having difficulties trying to defend Helen because I don't know what angle to take with this. I myself was also shocked when the DNA results came out because I was supporting her and I was talking about this thing where men like to always talk about how women... Oh, he kept calling her a whore and all those bad derogatory terms, But then in my head, I was thinking, I'm like, he knew when he met her what kind of person she probably was. So why is it that he's being this stubborn, cantankerous man trying to bring every reasonable doubt to his own children? And then the DNA results come out and it's voila. So I don't know what angle to take. And I'm just going to lay it out there.
So he should live with the DNA results because he should know that you can't turn a
hoe into a housewife.
Is that his reality?
No. It's just love doctor.
So, usually I've heard of a statement where people say paternity is just a belief, and maternity is reality because you are the one that carries the pregnancy and then you have the kids. So as for us men, they'll just say, oh, these are your kids, and this one looks like you, Collins look like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a belief, like these are our kids.
Yeah.
Lucky if they look like us. If they don't look like us, you'll always be explaining like, how come this kid doesn't look like you, So I think Collins, his reactions were up to date because there was already...
there was a reason for him suspecting his wife, and it's been proved.
He suspected Niger, that, Jim, and he's an ex, and he's always... and he had this audio,
I hope Jim's instructors don't think they've been let on the loose. Because Niger was still guilty.
But then let's not forget, though, that I just want to put it out there. It's got nothing to do with defending my women, but when we go to the gym, we are not looking for men to touch us.
No man is going to believe that after those DNA results.
Me, if you see me in the gym.
And in most cases, some people start doing certain things like going to the gym because of the problems that they're having at home, you know, and then probably on the 5 love languages, touch, and probably your husband has stopped touching you and all these things. So you go to the gym and this guy is busy trying to, you know, make you do all these exercises, and then you feel like, oh, this is the right guy. And women these days usually want to look at 6-pack, you know. So probably your husband is like me with big tummy,
one pack.
One pack, and then you find this gym instructor with the 6-pack, the things that you are dreaming of, you know what I mean? And then definitely you start falling for each other, basically.
Straight talk.
Physically, not necessarily because there's love.
I have a question for you.
Just to add on to that, coach. You know,
yeah.
there's one point that we're overlooking here. I feel bad for the guy, yes, for the husband, but we have to look at it from the preamble. How did this start? How did this couple find themselves in this situation? Because I, as a Shivukombe, when we're marrying off these newlyweds, they're supposed to know it's marriage is an institution, more like machinery, which has got a manual. And the manual for a marriage is the Bible. Okay. Once you start straying away from what the Bible says, you're going to have a problem. Infidelity issues start coming in, like we've seen in the case of what's his name? Colin and the wife.
And Helen.
And Helen, sorry. Infidelity issues start coming into a marriage when there's a break in communication. Maybe Muzako afuna kumnyaula in a certain way, and you're not doing it. Of course, she's going to find somebody who's going to nyaula her in an appropriate way. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. I do get that, but I'm saying, you see, Helen has been found guilty of 2 things.
Yeah.
It was proved that she was having an affair with Niger, the gym instructor, number 1.
Niger, yes.
Secondly, it's proved that 2 of the kids with Collins are not his, and not even ex-boyfriend Niger's. So does that justify men going for their DNA test? I mean, with the results now.
I think
as a Shivukombe, I'd love to hear that from the council perspective. As a Shivukombe, should men go for DNA tests now?
Yes, I support men going for DNA tests. If there's reasons. If you see, there's reasons, yes. Like in their case, there's infidelity issues where the guy has even got evidence of a recording from a boyfriend. So even when you start looking at your children, you start, even if your child is looking like you, exactly like you, start looking, you start having all those questions in your head. So I guess there's nothing wrong with you going for whatever DNA test. If you've got doubts and if you've seen that there's infidelity issues in your marriage, you are suspecting that your wife is cheating or with 1 or 2 people, I don't see any problem with that.
Can I say something?
Yes, do go ahead.
For me, this whole episode is triggering because there's nothing more sad than a man who's been cheated on by a woman. They will go through hellfire to try and make sure that the woman, first of all, pays, and they prove that whatever is going on, that those children are not theirs. It's because men can't take it the way women can take it.
Do women take it?
I'm still
Do
talking.
they even take it?
Let me tell you what happens. Women are forced to endure because you men like to make it seem that marriage is our main goal in life, it's our end goal for survival. So you find that if a man cheats on us, we're encouraged to shipikisha, you know that word, to stay, fight for your marriage, go into your war room. You are just encouraged to pretend. No.
So Collins,
you are encouraged to
hold the war room right now.
Collins needs his war room. Collins needs his war room. Truth be told, but I haven't finished, sorry. Yeah. But the problem that I'm seeing in this situation is that, unfortunately, it's the woman who's in the wrong. But we have so many issues of infidelity among married couples in the country that people do not wish to address because most of the time, even though most men are cheated on, they're not going to come out in the open and confess that they've been cheated on because it's going to bruise their ego.
That's the communication I was talking about.
So what they do
confess to their friends.
Even when we're watching, they
chat about these things.
Look at, even when we're watching, look at the man who we're laughing at. Like, oh my gosh, the gym instructor, that man who looks like this, Kaliso, you can do this to him. Men have this ego thing when it comes to their women.
Of course.
You can sleep with many women, but you don't want another man to touch a woman, and that is what's making people so damn angry. And that is the problem, that this woman has taken one for the team, but unfortunately I can't defend her because even I don't know who made her pregnant.
That's competition now. So it means if a man has wronged,
yes,
you should also go and do a wrong. That's the communication I was talking about. Because once there's no communication in a marriage, then you're going to have a problem. Because if I'm not communicating with my wife, she's going to find solace in another man who's going maybe to comfort her and stuff like that. If there's no communication, then we're not getting anywhere.
But then you also said something that I also found quite problematic. You said that if your man is not giving you attention, that's when a woman ends up going to look for solace in the arms of people. But you are forgetting the fact that women, David, cheat, not because they have no attention, but because they also have sexual emotions, and they're cheating because they want to be touched.
Generally, Coach David, as far as I'm concerned, usually women learn to love, learn to be content, and in their submission, they learn to love, they learn to be content.
So what
and it's usually men in most cases, unless when I look at Helen, probably Collins may be could have been a good guy. Of course, she mentioned to say he has done a lot of things and she forgave him, but Helen is just a problem. Helen is just a problem. Now, when we look at women, they usually are content with the love that they receive from their husbands.
Correct, yes.
Usually it's men that push women. You know what I mean? So if you don't do certain things for your woman, definitely she'll go out. You know, she'll definitely go out. They usually fight their feelings. They're not like men like, oh, I've seen C2 and, you know, I just want to sleep with her. You know what I mean? Women will think like that, yes, but they'll brush it off. Men will start pursuing their thoughts, you know? So when you find a woman stepping out, she might be a problem, yes, or usually it's men that have pushed them.
So now, does that act justify getting the DNA result?
Hi, and welcome to Tech.zm, a show that puts you in the know of everything digital.
A Kazadi Films original.
It does justify getting the DNA tests if you are suspicious, because the presumption is that if you are married and you have kids, those are your kids.
Correct,
like
yes.
that's the presumption. But if there are suspicions, there's this man who is always in your woman's life from way back. Maybe before you married your wife, he was there. You marry your wife, he's still there. You know, then you start looking at these kids and you know.
Then, unfortunately, it becomes the instructor at the gym.
And you start looking at these kids, they start looking alike with the ex or the person that is in your woman's life. And definitely at that particular time, you end up going for DNA tests.
Okay.
But
So now,
this is unfair.
On who?
Why?
On Helen? Colin?
This is unfair
Why?
because men have the privilege of requesting for a DNA test because unfortunately a woman carries the child. But some men are out there with 3, 4, 5 children that they can't find.
I was going to come to that, all right?
Yes.
My previous panel mentioned to say that if Collins finds out the kids are not his, he should still raise them. Okay. Now, and that's the new word now in society, because they're trying to balance it out to say because women tend to raise other women's kids when a child brings the man home.
Yeah.
So they say no, men should also tend to raise other men's kids. But now, what about taking responsibility? Because if Collins has to stick up for raising the kids for the sake of his marriage, what happens when we find out who the real father of those kids is? Does he have to take responsibility?
Yeah, but
what happens now?
On that one, Coach David, it doesn't necessarily mean that when one has wronged, then they need to be crucified.
Okay.
Like I said, every marriage has got a manual, which is the Bible. You understand? Like the Bible says, when one has wronged, try by all means to.
It's not every marriage. Some marriages, they don't even use the Bible.
Let me finish. The Bible even says,
Facts.
if you can't forgive her and continue, then let her go.
Okay.
But if you can forgive her, I don't see any problem with that man raising children.
So now,
Coach David, someone
forgive.
tried to forgive someone, and it was a reference like all the time. She goes to the market, she comes back and hey, so
then that is wrong.
Yeah.
When you forgive, you forget.
Yeah.
Once you're forgiven, don't bring it back again because it's like torture now. It's like what it's like a shampoo which you're going to use
But why is female infidelity frowned upon, but male infidelity is looked at in passing?
Okay, so this is my question.
You know what I wanted to say when she was explaining earlier on? I wanted to say that women pretend, like they don't even forgive. They will just, in most cases, they will like, okay, if I divorce my husband or I leave, people will laugh at me. Then who's going to take care of me? And who's going to love me? You know what I mean? So the best is, let me just stay in this marriage, but I will do as I feel like. Sometimes they may not show it to the man, but they always do. Once you cheat on a woman, just know that she has started cheating on you as well.
Wow. Okay. So now, Stu, what about the aspect of men taking responsibility for the kids that they you know? So if Collins has to take responsibility for the kids for the sake of his marriage, doesn't that let go of the man who's the actual father to those kids? And I really want to know. I really want to know.
Look at it the same way. Look at it the same way you look at it when a man brings in a child from the outside.
Doesn't that show he's taking responsibility for what he's done?
So even what makes you think now that this is an unequal marriage where the woman is also unable to also provide for the children in the said home? So you're looking at it from the side where that these children are coming into a home so another man can look after them. What if the woman is also capable of taking care of her own children, but they need to just be under one roof? That's the same thing. Look at it. It's just flip the script, and it's probably impossible for men to imagine. But then again, it's an ego thing. I cannot do anything about that.
So men who've impregnated another man's woman are easily let go. They should walk away. Say
they shouldn't.
He's got a father figure already.
But that doesn't mean that.
So they should co-parent.
They're co-parent.
They co-parent.
Yes.
So Collins should look for the father to the children and say, hey, come, let's raise these kids together.
Because at the end of the day, let's not forget a very important thing in this whole conversation, the fact that there are children involved. And those children deserve the right to know who their father is.
Okay.
No matter what you do, the problem in our culture is like, we like to sweep things under the carpet and pretend they did not happen. So you find that we have all these children who only find out after 20 years, that was not my daddy. You know, it takes long for some children to discover the truth about
But you are insisting that Collins takes responsibility. So how does he come in? Because you want the biological father to take responsibility, but then you also want Collins to stand up for his marriage by taking responsibility. So now how...
I did not say that.
Well, I mean, I think it's a question for my viewers as well, because there's sudden rise to say, no, just because your wife got pregnant by another man, I mean, man up, go to the war room.
Why are the men laughing? Why are you laughing?
I want to hear from Uncle Happy. How do we balance it out?
On that issue, yes, of course, Colin, because of for the sake of his marriage, he can try to forgive his wife and take care of the children as a man.
Okay.
But
then what happens to the biological father?
Will the wife stop seeing the other man? That's the question that we are overlooking again. What will stop them from having a third child?
Fourth? fourth one.
A third child. They've got two. No,
Oh, yeah,
outside.
the
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 other
one
two.
we don't know.
The one we don't
mystery
know.
father
The mystery
now.
father that we don't know.
Yeah.
What will stop the wife from having a third child with that man again?
Agreed.
If the connection is kept.
The connection
so now
is still there.
So where do we draw the
So
line?
it's a very, that man is in a very difficult situation. I pray for him. I pray for him that things work out.
Men
Because
need war room too.
it's a very difficult situation he's found himself in.
Me, in this whole situation, I just feel Collins, the Bible, society, and
I see where he's going.
generally everything points at him just divorcing Helen, because it will not be easy for him to live with Helen, looking at those kids. He will just be imagining about this, how they were even created, how they came about.
No.
But
He can forgive and move on.
That's what. Move
But
on.
women-
Because
Yeah, it's
women-
possible.
women
It's very
do-
possible.
So-
It's very possible.
we have even seen.
women
Yeah.
go through this all
We
the
have
time.
seen his reaction. We have seen his reaction. How is he going to be
But
managed?
you avoided the question.
You know why
doctor.
it is making
What's the question?
why it is
My-
making the whole situation to look like it's a difficult situation. Here is a man maybe who has brought maybe impregnated 3-4
Would you
women.
forgive?
Wait,
Would you forgive?
Wait, let
Would
me
you forgive
finish.
your wife?
I'm a-
You have evidence to say this child, Kapalu, is not your child.
My biological.
Yes.
No, if I love my wife, I want my marriage to work. Why not forgive? I can forgive
Because
and move
why
on.
is it
As a
something-
Christian.
Yeah, on
So,
TV.
but then if
As a
society
Christian.
expects the father to take responsibility for his child, how are you going to handle it?
It's up to the woman. I don't have a problem with society wanting the father to take full responsibility. But it's up to my wife now, that woman. Are they still going to be seeing each other? Or it will be just the father being responsible
So
for
if
the
he's
children?
responsible, then it's okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
And how does he bring the responsibility through you?
We can
you.
work it out. We can work it out.
It becomes a whole big family now. Like you just extend
We
your
can work
family.
out a plan. We can work out a plan.
That's impossible.
As a Christian.
I'm looking at these two men discussing something that almost seems hypothetical. When men, by the way, I keep on saying it, have been doing this for a long time. There are many women in households raising children
Of course, yes. Who
are
that
not
are
theirs.
not theirs.
Yes.
But the problem is that it's expected of women to raise these children. But men, they will not raise a child that is not theirs because they feel, why? Do we feel that women's infidelity is more hurtful or that we are putting the emotions of women below the emotions of men, that women are strong enough to endure such bullcrap from people? You know, like, I don't understand why it's okay for a man to come. Some people keep having mistakes. Oh, it was a mistake. Child.
A mistake,
Oh, another
repeated twice.
mistake.
You know, I
Every
think-
time he comes, it's a
no.
mistake.
I think the whole
Too much? No.
the whole morphology, so to say, of a woman. You know what I mean? The way a woman is created and everything just puts a man off. You know,
Why not?
to just imagine that there was a man that slept with my wife and she got pregnant, and all this time it was me who was thinking it is my pregnancy, and I continue sleeping with her. Someone also is continuing sleeping with her, and then the child is born. So every time, even women, there are a lot of women that even if they have been forced to live with these kids, they are hurt. They are always looking at this kid and they're thinking about whatever happened for this kid to come.
Yeah.
And they'll just pretend. That's what I'm saying. Women always pretend. They'll just pretend
Sorry, Doc.
for the reasons of just being in this marriage. No one even
I
forces
agree
them.
with you on
Yeah.
that, because then what happens is that you find these women sometimes taking out their frustrations
On the
that
children.
they can't address to
On the
their
children.
husbands on the children.
Yeah.
You find, oh, I'm being mistreated, or this child is being abused. You hear of a woman burning a child's hand because at the end of the day, she is unable to cope with whatever pain she's going through. So she decides to find an exit. And instead of taking it out on the person who hurt her, she decides to take it out
the
on
chil-
innocent
innocent
children.
children.
And we hear these stories everywhere. And then men think that. And then for men, they're afraid to lose their marriages, right? So instead of addressing the hurt and the pain that this child is going through, they pretend they do not see that pain. And this child grows up in a home where they feel like, why was I even born? Because we have
Abused.
got two consenting adults who could have chosen to walk away from a situation, putting such a disastrous household. And the problem also we do in our society is we're always trying to encourage these women to accept these children. Take this child as your own child so that they can grow up in love in the same household. If this woman does not have a heart to raise this that child is going to suffer. So as much as you want a happy family in one roof, if people have not healed from their grief, they are going to put a lot of pain on others. And it's not just men. This one I'm saying it's women who are victims of that. If you have a problem with your pain and you can't address your pain, do not take it out on an innocent child. And that's what we're trying to do.
And that's the reason why I feel women should be empowered.
Yeah.
You know, either they should empower themselves if they have resources, or they should be empowered so that when they are in these situations, in most cases, they don't want to go, because even when they are married and they are working, they always think, oh, my money is my money. Their husband's money is for the family. So for her to go and start staying alone and start paying all these bills, she feels it's a burden, and she would decide to just stay in this marriage even when she's hurting, and she'll still find a side dude. That's just a fact. They are hurt and they'll find a side dude. They'll be cheating, and because men are always working probably and also cheating, so they don't even pay attention to know if their woman is cheating. So they come home, they just play with the kids. While she is cheating, she's making herself happy. She's trying to make herself happy of the pain that she's going through. You know what I mean? So
it's very difficult to catch.
I think you can see it from Collins.
And you know what makes the whole situation to be like difficult? In our culture, most we are used to men bring children from outside wedlock. But in this case, it is a woman who has, it's opposite. So that's why it is very difficult. But again, we're overlooking one point. What led to that infidelity? What made the wife to go out there?
Infidelities.
Infidelities, yes. Thank you for the point of correction. Infidelities, yes. What led to that?
Uncle Happy said when people are getting married, we should involve God, we should involve the Bible. But do we also look at the background? You know what I mean? Because sometimes people meet in different situations. Others meet at church, others meet in the clubs, you know. Others just meet, you don't even want to know about their background, you just marry them, and they've got this ex that they can never, ever leave.
That is where the problem is again. When two people are marrying, what is called courtship. How long did you court? 2, why are you getting married? There's others that are getting into marriage just for the tag, just the name tag. No, she's married. You understand what I'm saying? So that marriage, what if the money is not there? What if there's just marriage, there's no love? So it's a problem again. Court, get married, love that man, follow the manual, which is the Bible, you won't have a problem.
And look, things usually change. You may love each other during courtship, and then you start having issues in marriage, and the love will not be there. So people start cheating.
Communication now comes in.
Even when you communicate.
One thing I want to bring out that our men are refusing to acknowledge, that women as well are sexual beings.
She keeps stressing that. Are you using that to justify Helen's escapades?
No, I'm trying to justify the fact that if you are not giving it to her at home, she has needs as well.
So what you're trying to say is that she was not getting it from
Collins
home.
was giving.
Was she not getting?
Maybe she wasn't getting it from
For
home.
him, for Collins to think that the kids are his.
It means it was happening. Kosafa was there. Tournaments were there over and over again.
Or you mean her getting satisfied?
Okay.
3 kids equals 3 sexual encounters.
No.
I want us to take. Okay, hold on. I want us to take a short break, and we'll be right back. But before we do, Collins has just discovered that 3 of his kids are not actually his. So what should he do? Should he man up and raise the kids, or should he keep pursuing who the real father for those kids are? I want you to leave a comment as we wait for the last episode of this Divorce Club. We're going to be right back after this break.
Sisi zanga zima wa mazitali olo zifupi. Sisi zeni mamanga ni macho sakuti. Darling, darling, ni maba uza bonse. Darling, darling, mafana na wakulu bonse. Sima pomana no no, sibuta
And
Have you been sleeping with my wife?
in the case of Christina, who you came on the show for, we did the DNA test against both Mr. Niger and Mr. Collins. The results came out that Mr. Collins, Mr. Niger, you are both not the fathers.
What the fuck? Who else have you been sleeping with? Huh? Genuine.
You understand that?
Ujamana sana para. Mimi tuone kile china mtu guru chida. You
are compensating me for the damages that my name you went.
Welcome back. You're watching the Divorce Club Aftermath with me, Coach David. And it's hot in here. Please keep leaving those comments. Tell us your thoughts. Let us know. What should Collins do? We know that Helen's cousin comes in the show and she comes with the wife. And she raises her hand and says she would love to, because everyone was looking forward to, they were thinking, all right, the kids are either Collins or
the gym
Niger,
instructor.
know. But we discovered that only one child is Collins and the rest is unknown.
In the words of Tyra Banks, Helen, I was rooting for you. We were all
But
rooting
now,
for you.
something interesting happens. Leon's wife raises her hand and talks about the inappropriate relationship that
The husband and the cousin.
Leon has with Helen. And now, to make it even worse, Collins' response is that his first child, Collins Jr., looks exactly like Leon. My goodness. Uncle Happy. Cousins and inappropriate relationships.
Cousins and inappropriate
How
relationship.
close should cousins be? Those things she was talking about. Because, there's a lot of cultural norms. There's a lot, even modern sayings. I know they say...
Cousins make
cousins
dozens.
indio,
that
or
nonsense.
cousins make dozens.
All that nonsense. You see, when there's a breakdown in morals, then there becomes a problem because that is incest now. You understand? When that nonsense starts coming in, like cousins make dozens, that is in our culture. We don't have that thing of saying cousin. She's your sister. Come on.
Okay.
Why go to bed with your sister? It is very wrong. So for the wife to even what's his name?
Helen.
The wife to the one who's
Natasha.
the husband to Natasha, for her for him to be even that closer to the cousin, there was a problem. That's why family values, like I've got cousins or brothers. Let my children and my cousins' children be known and let them respect each other, and they're going to have boundaries. These are do's and these are don'ts. Okay. In that situation where people start saying, no, cousins make dozens and stuff like that is wrong. It is very wrong. That is
But long time ago, like culturally, they would even marry them.
Yeah.
But I've heard of...
Right now, I've seen...
Biblically, even it's wrong.
But as a marriage counselor,
Oh, you mentioned biblical.
back in the day,
I wish Bish was here. I'd love to get it on
Yes.
the biblical side because I know
it
a
is
few.
wrong.
but I don't even understand.
I don't know if
I don't understand from someone coming from a very cultural perspective. First of all, I'm not condoning incest. That's gross.
Culture is culture, but that is your sister.
What I'm trying to say is that remember back in the day when a woman's husband would die, they would come and take over.
To Pianica and stuff like that.
Isn't that also just as bad?
All those things used to happen in
You know what I'm
olden days.
saying?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are still primitive and stuff like that. But in the modern culture,
But even
when it comes to pianicaring, they will just say no. What
does that mean?
David. It's just a name, like you carry the name, you are the father to those children.
We've
Not
heard-
necessarily
we've
mean that no, he will start bedding you.
We've heard others that have even gone like serious. But
No, that
yes,
is wrong. I
you've
don't
heard that
condone
too,
that.
right?
Yes.
I don't condone
They're
that.
encouraged.
That
I've
is
seen-
wrong. So this thing, is it a norm in some cultures? In some homes, families, cousins being with cousins?
I think
Yeah, because there's a breakdown in morals. You
So
find even
it's a
people have got
moral
children
thing.
with their cousins and stuff like that. For them, it's like normal.
And you see, this norm is something, like we said, cousin Ndio, cousin, you know
Make
what I mean?
dozens.
Yes. It like people just grow with it and they start believing in those things. I've seen even right now, like young people who write on social media or they'll come and confess, say, I'm in love with my cousin, we share a lot. And you try to explain to them, like, look, this is incest. And I'm like, no, but it's not like my blood sister or blood brother, you know what I mean? So I feel I just love this guy. I don't know how
the way
family
they grew up,
and it's happening, and it's happening.
Their family set up the way they grew up. It's to them, it's like normal. But when you sit down and think about what they're doing and try to explain what they're doing is wrong, it's like calling a shovel a bigger spoon. A shovel is a shovel. A spoon is a spoon. What is wrong is wrong.
Yeah. But then,
this nonsense of cousins make dozens and stuff like that, it all comes into people's minds according to how family setups, how they were brought up and stuff like that, or maybe they've watched wrong things and stuff like that. So to them, they think it's normal. No, it's a sin, and it's not supposed to be tolerated. It's wrong.
I think for me, the worst thing, I don't know if it's out of topic, is when, we come from extended families and then your parents introduce their friends, like the children of their friends, as your cousins. So they're not really blood cousins. So your own parents start cock-blocking you from a young age. I don't know if that's inappropriate. I just thought I should mention it. But what I noticed about this situation also is that in our Zambian homes, sometimes we're not the most affectionate of people. So you find that we've grown in homes where, when a baby is born, you play with the baby very, very well until the child reaches 9, 10. If it's a girl, the breast starts showing, the father stays away. So you find that most families, we don't have that kind of affection where we are always together. But you find that there are some new modern families where they really encourage people to be close, where you find that I'm just picturing my own family where I don't think I've ever seen my mother and her brother like holding hands or, but me and my brother are always like hugging, or we're always taking walks with my cousins. We're always together. So you find that even the new generation, as we are growing and blossoming, we are more affectionate with each other than previous generations, because it's always been told, oh, you're now a woman, you should be called Wostumbeko. You stop touching unnecessarily, even with your own siblings or your own cousins. So you find that for some people who are raised in homes where affection is not shown, when they see affection between a man and woman, regardless of them being related, it's a problem. And that is something that we need to start.
So where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line?
It's just taboo in our culture. Here is my sister, or maybe my young sister, who's above age, and here is me also who's above age. Then we're touching each other in a.
Why is it wrong for you to show love to your sister?
So
we are Africans.
So now listen.
So you don't love or hug each other,
but there's a way we're supposed to touch each other, and there's a way we're not supposed to touch each
Why?
other. It's taboo.
Could you describe, since you're for it, cousin? Not the incest. No, I mean the affection between cousins. Like it should be normal. But where do we draw the line? Because look, this is probably not supposed to be an acceptable accusation. Right now, it's still an accusation.
It's an accusation.
We're not sure whether Leon is the father or not.
Please
but
don't be.
where do we draw the line between, to avoid such things? Where do we draw the line between acceptable affection between cousins? Where do we draw the line?
Sorry, some people here, you don't go out with your cousins, your relatives, you go
Just
drinking
answer the question
up to 2
now.
in the morning.
There's
you're
nothing
dancing.
wrong with going out. There's nothing, but don't
What
touch
line?
each other inappropriate.
With the affection.
You join them, don't sleep with them, don't kiss them.
Even just touching.
Why would you
that's a very
touch
good
my
question.
boobies? Why?
That's inappropriate.
Why?
That's inappropriate, right?
No, that's of course.
So where do you draw the line?
Where you draw the line.
Yes.
don't look at them as a sexual being.
But you can touch.
Can those things
Give
lead
love.
to temptation? Can they lead
They
to...
can't. Where would you even start thinking of your own blood
these
in
things
such a way?
happen.
But
They
we're
do,
looking at
but
the
then that is
accusations
why
just now.
it's messed up. It shouldn't happen.
shouldn't
It's
happen.
because people give each other a lot of leverage to, oh yes, we are cousins, so we can touch. We need to be passionate about this family. We need to be close, because some people didn't grow up well. So, and then now you go beyond. Someone
You
starts looking
don't.
at you differently.
Surely we are not that animalistic that we want to eat things that are in our own
That's the reason
backyard.
why. That's the reason why even mothers today,
Yeah.
they are so sensitive with their, girl child, even being with their fathers, because we have seen useless fathers sleeping with their kids.
Molesting the
Yes.
children.
And
so
that
now,
happens, yes.
these things, that's the reason why we bring in the protection.
So you think stopping something or preventing something means it will not happen?
No, it will, but we need to take precaution.
Listen, if there's nothing
bottom line.
worse, there's nothing stronger than sexual tension.
Bottom line
Sexual
here,
tension.
let us not stray away from our culture.
Yeah.
When we start following other people's cultures, I'm not mentioning, I'm saying other people's cultures.
Yeah.
We are Africans, we are blacks. So certain things we can do, and there's certain things that we're not supposed to do. I mean,
I'll ask a very tricky question.
here is me.
No.
Go ahead.
I think I'm going to leave it for the next episode.
In certain cultures, a sister and a brother can hug and kiss each other on the lip or on the cheek. But for us as blacks, no, that's not how.
But for someone who's
it's
more
taboo.
traveled as you,
Abomination.
how
It's
would
taboo.
you think like that?
It's not my culture.
No,
I
it's
can't
not
do
about,
it.
it's not about
wrong.
traveling. It's not about
Losses
being...
we hold, you are lousy we hold, we kiss each other in the palm.
That's okay.
Even us as Luvalis,
you
we
won't
do
get
that.
turned on if
No,
someone kisses you in the hand.
why would I do that?
You won't get
No,
turned on
why?
if someone kisses you in the hand.
Are you very sensitive?
Huh?
Are you very sensitive?
I'm very sensitive if
So
you
you
want
don't
to
do
know.
that?
Huh?
So you don't do that?
But I'm not going around sleeping with everyone because it's open.
I was saying, even in our culture, us as Luvales, there's nothing wrong, because when you're kissing your sisters, it's like you're blessing. Kisu papa, I mean, bless you. I don't see anything wrong with that. But what I was saying, that no other culture, you find a sister and a brother kissing each other. Oh my God.
Where are you seeing that?
Certain
Where
cultures,
brothers and
I've been in
sisters,
South Africa.
French kissing with tongue.
No French kissing, but mouth to mouth like this.
Because then...
It's wrong.
Thank you.
Okay. Or just as a normal thing?
Yeah, for them it's
Greeting, they've seen each other.
Oh
They
yeah,
greet them.
even women kiss women on the
Even
lips
a
as a sign
father
of greeting.
kissing his daughter who's of age. You understand what I'm saying? On the lips. But as us, as in our culture,
Like would
it's
shock
taboo.
the whole country.
So why do
taboo,
we
it's
have
an
to
abomination.
sexualize everything then? Why are we sexualizing everything?
We are not sexualizing everything, but we have a culture that we need to follow,
Correct, yes.
that we need to respect. And it's because of that respect, we avoid a lot of, the energy you're talking about. Because even if you have energy, you're not giving it a leeway by bringing someone close to you, So you just control it and maybe probably use
But
it
then that is
with other
another
with
problem.
other people, yes.
That is
Okay.
the problem
All
we
right.
see in society where men are closed up emotion-wise because they do not know how to express affection because it's not culturally right for men to be emotionally expressive. That's why we're going around with men who are dropping dead because they have all this bottled emotion which they cannot release because they're afraid of what their culture. Men don't cry. Boys don't cry. Be strong, you're a man. Do not touch your sister like that.
I disagree with you.
Where do you men release all that?
I
Where
beg
do you
to
release it?
disagree with you
friends,
on that one.
Sit,
When you
drink,
say men,
laugh,
then you are
chat.
generalizing. I brought up a point where I said no communication. Even in a marriage, if you are married, she's your wife, she's your best friend. If you want to do it in a certain way, why not tell her, no, mommy, let's do it in this way? Because if you're not telling her, then there's a break in
I'm
communication.
not happy with your answer. I'm not
All right,
happy with
okay.
it.
Communication.
I want us to focus on this, all right?
Yes.
And I want to hear from my viewers as well. A strange accusation. I mean, this from your conversation, it's a very strange accusation that Leon should be accused of being the possible father of Helen's two other children.
Yeah.
So, to my viewers, should Leon take the test to prove whether he's the father or not? And I want to hear from you, Lovely Doctor.
So-
Should Leon take the test?
Yes, reason being that the wife to Leon is very suspicious of this relationship with the cousin. She has given the so-called evidence, so to say. Each time Leon is sick,
The first person to be called
the
is
cousin, and we saw even when Collins tried, to injure in some way. I don't know if
Leon
Helen was
came to
injured.
the rescue.
Leon came to the rescue, and he was so, it's normal,
Protective.
but the wife started calling Leon back. Come back from there, come.
She had
And
to
Leon was
literally
just
beg.
there, trying to, you know what I mean? And so to clear the air, Leon needs to do the test so that they are cleared of whatever accusations they may have.
Uncle Happy, you think the same too? Should Leon take the test?
Yeah, I second with what the love dog I say, because there's question marks here. Already, Leon's wife was complaining that no, there's times when Leon is sick. The first person to come to the rescue is a cousin. And the way they like handle each other, she's mentioned that also she didn't like. So she said no, they should go for DNA test. And for Leon, if he's not guilty, why not go for the test?
And
Let him go ahead.
The strange thing is that both of them, Helen and Leon, were like, no, why, you know what I mean?
Because already when you're refusing, it means you're guilty then. Then why are you refusing? That's the question. If you know deep down in your brain that no, there's nothing that happened between the two of you, I mean, you do the test willingly.
Still, should Leon take the test?
Leon should definitely take the test. Because I noticed it from the previous episode where it just doesn't add up that if it's his cousin who is so close to, why is he the first person going to tell the husband what his cousin
like he's jealous.
In Sanje, is that what you call it in
Sanje, yes.
Sanje.
He was defending his family member, no?
Well, how? By
by him going to
dentist
report
secret.
to Collins.
Your wife has done everything.
Okay, all right.
That gym instructor. So, like for me, I just
but now,
understand.
where does that? You gave your views earlier on to say that Collins should take responsibility for the kids. But now, if it does come out and Leon takes the test and it proves that he's the father of children, where does that leave Collins? What are your thoughts?
I don't see any problem still with him forgiving the wife.
Oh, wow,
Even
really?
The Bible says, if you can forgive.
But should he raise the kids?
I don't see any problem with that. Like I said in the beginning even, what is making the whole thing to look like taboo is because it's a woman who has brought kids now into her marriage.
But now here's
the other way around.
Can we count Helen's infidelities? There's the gym guy, all right. Now there's the suspicious of her sleeping with her own cousin, and the cousin now might be the father of the two children. Don't you think that's too much weight for Collins to bear?
No, too much it can be, but if you can forgive.
No,
you can't.
I don't see any problem.
Even I
love Uncle Happy. I love Uncle Happy.
If you can forgive.
3 times.
Happy. It's good you're saying if you can, but he can't.
Would you forgive your wife?
Given that situation, put myself
forgive your wife?
in that scenario as a Christian. Yes, why not?
Oh wow.
Now I'm going to tell Collins the same advice that women are told when men do this thing. Bro, leave. It's not worth it to stay in a house where this woman is bringing all these children and you don't know where they're coming from.
But what if,
David, maybe what you should do is that since Leon is married and we don't know if they've got kids or not.
They have no kids with his wife.
So let him get the kids and then they stay with.
That does not.
Then the wife now.
Then what happens to? Is it Natasha?
She should accept. She should accept also.
But imagine how his wife feels.
I'm advocating for acceptance. Yes.
So even that wife should accept the kids.
Is on calling to accept those children.
So why is Collins given the load to manage that?
No, it's not a load. It's about him saving his marriage and forgiving his wife.
But I have a question. This is just hypothetical since you men are liking this. What if the only reason that Helen has those children outside the marriage is because her husband is shooting blanks?
But Collins is there.
They've got one child.
They have that one middle child.
Exactly.
Fluke.
You call it a fluke?
I'm joking.
So
Helen,
what do you think?
Helen is just a problem. That's just a fact. The problem she may have had it before they got married, or yes, Collins could have ignited it, but she has a problem. Now, if Collins was to be forced in some way to accept the situation and keep those kids, I'm telling you that home will never be a home.
Forced
even
by
the
whom?
same society.
He's the only one to make the final decision.
Counselor here who's saying you are trying to confuse his mind by telling him that
it's not confusing his mind.
Problems, and those kids will not grow up well.
Yeah.
Because they'll have issues, he will call them. He already calls them bastards. Even before the DNA, even before the DNA test was done,
he was talking out of anger.
After the DNA test, he has continued calling those those kids bastards. You know, of course, when you look at English, they're bastards, yes, but in our African setup, when you are called the bastard, you feel so
more like an
demeaned.
insult.
You know what I mean? So he has already started calling them. And what will change him to start thinking, okay, fine, these are my kids?
I have a question for Uncle Happy, right? You advocate that whether Leon takes the test and proves, let's say the kids, it proves that those are Leon's kids.
Children.
Collins should take responsibility. Okay, but now what happens with the issue of trust? Because let's not forget, Helen and Leon are still family, all right? Yeah. So Helen decides to say, I'm going for a family event. Colin says, I've forgiven you. All right, let's raise the kids. They're mine. And you say you've cut your relationship with Leon. But what happens when Helen is meeting the family and Leon is present? I mean, trust issues there?
Yeah, trust issues can be there.
How do you handle them?
Forgiveness.
Do you think that's healthy for the marriage to keep going on?
Yeah, it can be healthy if you're able to forgive each other. I don't see anything wrong with family to continue living in harmony. Wow. So long you forgive each other.
I just love what he's saying because it's the same advice that women are given. I'm listening to this, I'm like, this is a
so you forgive, then that's the idea.
No, I am against.
No,
I am against anything where people have to do something for the sake of something. If you are staying in that marriage for the sake of being married, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, their mental health, both of them, is going to be affected.
Including the kids.
Why encourage people to stay in these relationships? Because people like saying this rubbish, where people like saying that, no, you have to stay in the home for the sake of the kids. You have to make sure that you fight for your marriage.
That's wrong.
That is
for the sake of what is wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
But if you can forgive, that's the key.
The reason to live together should be love.
Yes.
You love each other and you're able to forgive.
This is applicable.
You loved each other. Why did you go out to?
It's applicable to both men and women.
She
That's
made
what
a
I'm trying
mistake.
to say.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that, no, if one makes a mistake, then you can't move on in life.
Which mistake? Twice.
Right.
She goes out to make a mistake, she brings a child. She goes again, she makes a mistake.
She is human.
There's Niger.
She is human.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we could go on and on. This show is just hot. I want to hear your thoughts. Should Leon take the test? And should Collins push for Leon to take the test? Or he should just keep on raising the kids in ignorance? Because, I mean, what you don't know won't kill you. So leave your comments. Let me know. You've been watching the Divorce Club Aftermath with me, your host, Coach David. Until next time. Thank you for watching us.
So the Divorce Club was inspired by a time when I started realizing just how vulnerable modern day relationships have become, be it in marriage or any intimate relationship. The vulnerability is just way too high of late and will only get worse if situations aren't brought to light.
I was going to change.
Do you even know the reason why I don't touch you? Do you? Do you know why? Yes, if I cheat, I cheat.
I personally think it's better to know what you're getting into before you actually get into it. And that's where the Divorce Club comes in, giving people an opportunity to know what to expect and giving married people more of an insight and caution. My name is David Kazadi, and this is the Divorce Club.
A Kazadi Films original. This episode of the Divorce Club Aftermath is brought to you by Rano.